I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
Welcome to Worldview Finder, episode 36. We did it. We made it this far.
We're back at it again.
You're going to say that.
This week, we are talking about, would Jesus spend $100 million on a Super Bowl ad? We're also talking about some interesting Disney facts about Florida. So I'm going to quiz you guys on whether these things actually happen at Disney World or do they not. Some weird things that may go on at Disney World that you didn't know. And start us off. But first, our commercials are the new age of advertising.
We're talking about the new age of advertising.
New age of advertising. Because
Super Bowl was last week.
Yeah. Super Bowl.
Or a couple days ago, I mean.
Depending on when this is uploaded. At some point in the past.
The Super Bowl just happened. Super Bowl happened, and there's always crazy ads around the Super Bowl. This year, though, they released them like a lot of ahead of time.
Yeah, it was like hype built up.
Where did they release these?
On the internet.
Oh.
I watched the Michael Cera one a couple days before.
Oh, see, I didn't see that one before. I saw the Paramount one before with Professor X. I don't know. So
with all of the characters.
Yeah, but okay. So here's what I want to talk about around this, because this is a Worldview podcast. We talk about the worldview, and so commercials are one of the things that definitely push a worldview. And so when we talk about worldview and talk about the things on this podcast, we want to run it through this filter. So what's the worldview? What does it say is good or bad? Like, what are these things, whether it's commercials or movies or music or whatever it is? How does it compare to a Christ-centered worldview? So what does Jesus say about these things? And then what does this content want you to do or change as a result of consuming this thing? And so for me, I mean, advertisements are that. Like, they put out ads to get you to buy something. But a lot of times ads sell a lifestyle. Because like old beer commercials, I remember like the Budweiser or Bud Light commercials. I remember like I went to a class that talked about advertising, and it was talking about how these commercials say that this beer is more important than life. Because there was one commercial where they're skydiving or something, and somebody like throws like a case of beer out, and they're like, "Oh, we're out of parachutes. I didn't mean to throw that." And the guy's like, "I got it," and he just jumps out of the plane with no parachute. You're like, well, that's not going to end well.
Worth it.
Yeah. And so, or they'll be buying toilet paper and beer, and then they're like, "Oh, you only have enough money for one," and he's like, he puts the toilet paper back. And you're like, this is more important.
It's good advertising.
It is. It's funny. I remember.
Well, I feel like all fragrance commercials, that's all it is.
What?
Is selling the lifestyle.
Fragrance commercials are the weirdest commercials.
Oh. I know, they're weird, but it's like it's a kind of a lifestyle of luxury and weirdness.
When you said fragrance, I thought you were meaning like Febreze and like Downy commercial.
Well, that is also selling a clean
Febreze plugins.
I'm like, what lifestyle are they selling? Oh, okay, but you mean
clean
like
lifestyle,
like cologne and stuff.
Yes. Parfum, Jimmy. So
Eau de parfum.
Yeah. So here's the thing that has been interesting in the world of advertising, that I have a filmmaker friend that told me about this. Shout out to Chris Weatherly. But he was talking about how film is becoming more commercialized and commercials are becoming more artsy and more Filmized, yeah. Cinematic maybe is the word, and not necessarily in the style that they're shot, but just how they tell stories well. Because the job of the advertiser is to get you to stay on, because we've all clicked the skip button on the YouTube and all that stuff. We're like, oh, I don't want to watch this ad.
Yeah.
But what would make you want to stay past that first 5 seconds to keep watching the ad? Is there anything in particular are there any ads that you've found yourself like you start watching past the skip thing, you're like, oh, I want to know more about this?
Oh, well, I did watch the full Michael Cera. It came up, and I just was like, what is this? So I just watched the whole thing.
So for those of you who didn't see it, it's CeraVe.
Yeah, CeraVe. And it's kind of one of those campaigns to like teach you how to pronounce it as well.
Oh.
I think. But yeah, it's Michael Cera, and he says he's created it. But the commercial they released beforehand that I watched, it doesn't have him saying, like at the very end where he's standing in front of the boardroom, like, hear me out, this is a good idea or whatever. It's not in that. Like, that's not in it. So it looks like it was just like they made that commercial for real.
Oh, gotcha. So the normal commercial looks like it's a
normal commercial, yeah. Oh. But then in the Super Bowl, they extended it to where he's like standing in front of the board.
It's a CeraVe. So, Jimmy, any ads that you've like
No,
watching?
Not any specific that, because I do get a lot of ads before the YouTube videos, but I usually skip them. And
Yeah, but has there been any that you've not skipped? That was the question, Jimmy.
no, not on YouTube, but the Burger King commercials on Hulu. The BK commercials where they had like the little song. We heard it so much when we were watching Hulu that we like memorized the whole song. So we actually looked forward to watching that every time because it was a catchy song.
I don't know what the BK song is.
Really?
Give me a little bit of it.
Let us know in the comments.
Give me a little bit of it.
Gotta sing it a little bit now.
I forget the lyrics. We'll have to look at it.
Yeah, you just said you spent this whole time memorizing it.
BK.
And then we never saw it again.
Donkey.
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking.
The DK, the Donkey Kong tongue.
No, BK.
Donkey Kong is here.
Because the end is like BK, have it your way.
Oh yeah, I know that part.
Yeah. So, but they do different things at the beginning. It's kind of like a rap.
They do a whole song of it.
Yeah, but we looked forward to watching that every time.
I think the ones that stick with me or that I keep watching are just like movie trailer ones.
Yeah, if it's a movie trailer that I'm interested in, and the worst is when it's a movie trailer. I'm gonna watch a movie trailer, but it shows another movie trailer.
Yes.
Like,
Perfect.
I'll watch this one.
Double movie trailers.
But then the thing I don't like about ads is you can't fast forward. Because there's sometimes I'm like, I want to see more about this thing, but I don't want to watch the whole ad for it. I want to,
Yes.
and then I just skip it. So,
Okay, so let's talk about Super Bowl worldview. Was there an overarching worldview that you saw come through after you watched all the commercials where you're like, I feel like this year's theme was this?
That's a good question.
Celebrity endorsement.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed was, yes, celebrity endorsement and like, let's target millennials.
I think hopeful.
Yeah.
I saw that cat mayonnaise commercial and I was like, it's a good day.
The hope is alive in America.
What was the cat mayonnaise? I saw that, but I don't remember.
The only thing, it was some commercial, but the cat meowed and it sounded like
It was for it was for Hellman's.
Yeah,
Day.
it was a mayo.
It was what's her name? Kate
McKinnon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. So the reason I said hopeful is because I remember like way back in the day, it was just like humor. They would use humor, and there was a lot of humor in these.
Yeah.
But then it got to like really serious commercials. Almost like every commercial was a Hallmark commercial. I'm like crying as the truck pulls up and his daughter gets out, and this is the last time you'll ride the car with me until you get married. And they're like crying and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I remember.
so there was like this
phase.
sad phase, and now it just like it felt like things are going to be okay. I don't know. For some reason, the Poppy ad stood out for me. It was it's like a new form of soda, but they're like,
Yes.
they're like Poppy. What was
There were some bold claims in that Poppy commercial.
there really was.
Like your kids from generations on will know this as so.
it'll make you live forever.
Yeah.
That was a SpongeBob reference. They were selling chocolate and they would just make these outrageous claims. Whatever the problem the person was having. Sounds like the really old lady. It'll make you live forever.
Oh, so, but yeah. So wait, how did Poppy? Oh yeah, it said the future of soda is now, which I would always say that at the soda machines.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you would.
I go,
Oh my gosh.
the future is now, and I'd hit the soda machines.
Oh my goodness. I
Well
still say
before
the
time.
future's now, and I forgot where that even came from.
It came from Poppy. They knew.
They
so,
knew.
So yeah, because so it felt hopeful to me. I don't know. When you said targeting millennials, because they had all like the.
This is it. Like all the cameos or the celebrity endorsements. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say almost every commercial had celebrities in them, and they were from shows that millennials watch.
Yeah, they
were talking
they reunited like two of the friends from Friends, and then Scrubs. They put Scrubs on there.
Before the show,
Parks and
Chris
Rec.
said Scrubs like 1,000 times,
did.
trying to convince us.
Parks and Rec. There's like a lot of
30 Rock.
30 Rock. Yeah,
There's a Ted Lasso. I know he's more recent, but
Yeah.
it's still like a millennial heavy show.
So I would be interested to see what are the demographics of people that watch the Super Bowl or that are really into the Super Bowl.
Well, to me, it's all part of this NFL conspiracy
Oh.
to get people to watch the NFL, because it's like if Taylor Swift is a millennial. I mean, she's a cross-generation celebrity
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this point, but they're expecting more millennials to be watching than ever. So then all the ads are targeted towards that.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I was listening to a podcast before, and they said that this was the most watched Super Bowl of all time, and there was 123 million people watching.
wow.
Yeah.
Quite a few. And Taylor Swift was probably part of that.
I would say more than part of it.
Yeah. Jeez. So it's a Super Bowl rig. No, we're not gonna get into that. So with advertising though, yeah, they are selling this lifestyle. And so if they want people to have hope, because I mean, with election year and all the craziness that goes on, I think there's like if you have these things, you'll be more hopeful, you'll be more healthy, you'll be better off this way. Dunkin' Donuts, that one was another great one with Ben and
I missed it. I missed that one. I meant to watch it before.
Ben Affleck trying to sing for his wife. Is he married to J-Lo again? I don't know. I can't keep up with who.
Let us know in the comments.
But yeah, so it was really funny. And then Matt Damon was in it, like they're dressed like in these crazy Dunkin' Donut outfits or whatever. Or Dunkin', it's not donuts anymore, just Dunkin'. But he sings, and then Matt Damon's like, when I said I'd do anything for you, he's like, this was it.
This was the thing.
Anything else for you? So it was pretty funny, but it was all kind of lighthearted and hopeful, and like, yeah, things are okay, even though life may seem tough and there's a lot of turmoil in the political realm and in the world in general. But I felt like these products will give you hope in life. That's what I felt.
I mean, you see that in like so many commercials right now where it's not like the product itself is almost a secondary. They sell you on the lifestyle, and they're like, well, or even like, because I heard the example of like a James Bond movie, like you'd wear a specific kind of watch. So then when you bought the watch, you're like, I want to feel like James Bond.
Right. Yeah.
So then you buy the watch.
But you said you felt like it wasn't selling lifestyle as much this year.
Not necessarily a lifestyle. Like, I don't feel like it's hopeful lifestyle.
Hopeful lifestyle.
It's just more of a concept. But I didn't feel like there was like, you'll be cool if you have this, or you'll be cool if you use this. Except for Poppy. I felt like Poppy was definitely promoting this, like, you have to be part of the future.
Yeah, you like soda, but you don't want diabetes, so you need to drink Poppy.
Diabetes.
I mean, I think in advertising, there's always going to be those commercials that's selling the lifestyle that goes with the product.
So I do think it's maybe this will be part of our next thing is that so I think that advertising does sell lifestyle sometimes, but where do you think advertising is going? Because I think this is very millennial centric, where this is where we spend all the money to get our product in front of a lot of people. There's 123 million people that watched it. So where do you think advertising is going from here?
I think it's definitely going to go towards more public, like TikTok and using those people, because I think it's starting to trickle in already. And somebody got in trouble. Who was it? So a company got in trouble for using there was a girl who made a TikTok like every week leading up to the Super Bowl for dad, like giving her the Super Bowl news. And she was like, I getting my morning news, because he knew she was interested in it because of Taylor Swift. And then like a company made a commercial that was very similar.
Oh yeah.
And so they were saying like, why didn't you just bring her in to film the commercial with her dad instead of like stealing the idea? And so people are already starting to see like there are really good creators. Just the everyman is a good creator on TikTok, or they can make these shorts really fast. We already have influencers who are doing mega selling.
Well, so I think it's interesting because that record-breaking numbers of watching the Super Bowl is 123 million, and what's interesting is you look at the typical Mr. Beast video, and he uploads like once a week now, and after that week has gone by, he averages around that 123 million, if not more.
Per week.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Every single week. This is not like a year, once a year thing. So after putting all his videos together, it's billions of views, not just millions of views. So, and I think that's why a lot of companies are reaching out to these influencers or sponsoring YouTube videos for so you don't just reach the millennials, but for reaching Gen Z and things like that.
Right.
And even like on TikTok, people not necessarily having these giant platforms, but just being on TikTok. Like I've heard plenty of stories where like this girl's dad had his own candy shop and he would get a little bit of business, but not a whole lot. But then they went viral on TikTok and then they were like sold out for however long because their business was able to blow up on TikTok. So I think a lot of companies are actually leaning into that where, because on one hand, commercials do more storytelling and stuff like that. But I think the other end of the spectrum is commercials or ads that don't look like ads. So maybe you've heard of this. It's called TikTok Made Me Buy It. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard of that.
I have not.
Chris,
you said this earlier. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, there'll be these different products on TikTok and they have like ongoing series called TikTok Made Me Buy It. And how companies do it oftentimes is they send these products to influencers to make those kinds of videos. But to everyone on TikTok, it's like, oh, I just found this cool thing on TikTok and you should check it out as well. So it's interesting to see that. And I think I'm talking about worldview, sometimes the worldview in those things are a little bit more subtle because it's not like this whole produced thing, but people are still advertising through those mediums.
But the worldview of influencers is just that. It's like you're being influenced by this person. And the whole of the internet is being influenced by this person. And so I don't know, like I feel like the future of advertising, that's going to pendulum swing to one end.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's already starting to be like, oh, let's swing back to something else. But I don't know what that something else is going to be yet. What I have noticed in advertising, especially with the Super Bowl, is they've got to create ads that are longer in length, like the 30-second spot they get or the 15-second. But it has to be able to be chopped up into a YouTube 5-second TikTok.
Well, as a maker of commercials,
you are in a lot of commercials.
That's true.
I have, So our last commercial, they're made for BeFit. Check it out, the BeFit commercial. In that it's a full length. Like it's a 30-second spot, but there's also, we made it very much so that you could chop it up into 10, 15-second spots so that they can show those in shorter segments. So, and you were intentional about being able where it works in vertical and horizontal too, right? Oh, maybe.
Yeah. It looked like it on, because I've seen them on TikTok, and it looks very intentional.
I wasn't the one filming and all that stuff. Again, Chris Weber.
You were the talent.
My filmmaker friend. So I think it's going more towards storytelling, because if you look at these commercials, like it tells almost a complete story in that 30 seconds. And so this wasn't Super Bowl, but this was a Groundhog Day ad that like, it's a 4-minute Lay's commercial that I watched the whole entire thing.
Interesting.
Ryan Reynolds put it out for one. I don't know if he did, like he just posted it. So I don't know if he made it or helped make it, but it takes a character from Groundhog Day, Ned Ryander, this annoying guy, but he's basically, he walks up, buys a bag of potato chips, and it's again like they can make them short, so it's like it's maybe 15 seconds. He walks up, says something to this lady at the checkout. She's like, they have a little banter. She's like, "Oh, buying Lay's potato chips," and then he walks out, and then like it starts over again. There's like a ding of the light of the grocery store lighting up. He walks up, he's buying another bag of Lay's. It's a different flavor this time. And she makes a comment. And he's like, "Have we done this before?" She's like, "I'll do it again every day," or whatever. And like, but it keeps going. And then you kind of see these subtleties of like, he's getting more weirded out, but like she's in on it. And so it's just kind of like, you're like, I want to know more about what's happening. And then like, she just has dumb names for the potato chips. Oh, barbecuties. And like, but it's really funny. And so I watched the whole 4 minutes. I'm like, oh man. But I'm also, as my wife says, an advertiser's dream. Like I read all the stories on the boxes of Cheerios, on the bags of Hardee's and all this stuff. I'm like, I want to know how this hamburger was made.
Right.
I just realized this as we're filming this. Twice a month, this guy is called the Deals Guy. Check him out. But he'll put out like, what do you need to buy at Costco this month? And it's basically a 15-minute advertisement of Costco.
And
that
you
I
love
watch.
it.
Oh, I do. And my kids watch it. And then I'm like, oh, this is an advertisement. Like I'm like, but he doesn't get paid by them.
Yeah.
And so it's not a paid promotion or anything. He just makes these videos. And so I watch that. And then there's a Costco Hot Finds or something. And it's this lady that's like, oh man, I just bought this thing at Costco and it's so good. I'm like, I need that in my life.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for advertising. So yeah, we're gonna speaking of advertising. one of the biggest commercial people of all time, Disney.
Yes.
Disney. So it's time for Florida Foibles. I'm going to call this Quizney edition.
Quizney. You have a quiz for us, Chris?
So you can't look. Oh, it's going to be up on the screen.
Okay,
no,
we won't look. We won't look.
Okay, yeah, I won't look at the screen.
All right. So they interviewed this guy. I don't know. His mom was around for the original pitch of having Disney World in Florida. And so this guy's he likes Disney. Okay. So they asked him these questions, fact or fiction. So I want you guys to answer.
Okay.
All right.
Fact.
So Disney serves emu legs. So they have those big turkey legs, but they said they're too big. They're actually emu that
Are you saying
serve.
they call them that?
No.
They call them turkey legs, but they're actually emu?
They're actually emu because they're so giant and big. So do they serve emu?
Would that be false advertising?
I'm calling cap.
Yeah, I'm saying false.
Yeah, it is not false. They're giant turkey legs. They're 720 calories and 37 grams of fat, but they serve 2 million of them a year.
Wait.
But people are
It's
eating
turkey leg,
emus.
right?
It's turkey, yeah.
Yeah, so it's...
But people think they're emu because they're so big. They're like, there's no turkeys that are that big.
The question was misleading.
Yeah.
What?
You said they're selling emu.
You deceived us.
Disney serves, fact or fiction, does Disney serve emu legs? And you said no.
I said cap, and you said that's wrong.
Wait, cap is...
That's wrong. Cap is, yes.
False. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is false. They do not serve emu legs.
Okay.
Oh, you said
it was true. Play it back.
Wow, this was bad.
Off to a great start.
Sorry.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay,
So false. They do not sell emu legs,
Right.
but people think they are.
Disney doesn't pay taxes.
Oh, true. That's true.
They don't pay taxes?
Correct.
It's a loophole. They found
Yeah.
it.
This guy says they pay approximately $1.15 billion in taxes in Orange and Osceola counties. So that's property tax.
Oh, I thought they were on their own little.
That's what I thought too, but it says that's what they said.
Okay.
All right, fact or fiction? The bones in the Pirates of the Caribbean are human.
They're emu.
Like real
human skeletons
instead of props.
instead of props.
True.
I would say false.
Oh, you guys are both kind of right. So they're now not real. But when it opened in the Disneyland in California in '67, they actually used human skeletons.
Back in the good old days when they had cocaine and coke and human bones at Disney World.
Back when it used to be good. All right, Walt Disney's Frozen Head is at the theme park.
That's a...
What? False.
You never heard of that? It's under Cinderella's castle. You never heard that?
I know it's a controversy, but no.
Oh, yeah, that is false. So but
Allegedly.
of course, this guy's gonna say that. I mean, it's there. It's a
Oh my goodness.
Fact or fiction? Nobody has been pronounced dead at Disney. So nobody's died in the theme park.
Or at least they've not been
I would
pronounced
say
dead.
true. I would say true.
It's false. They die every day.
Yeah. This guy says many people have died at
Yeah,
Disney.
that's what I figured. There's so many
I
people
know
there.
people have died there, but I didn't know, like you said, pronounced dead for reasons.
So fun fact, the earliest reference this guy could find of death at Disney's in 1984 when a plane crashed into the Epcot parking lot and a man was killed.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, at least it wasn't like he fell off a tower of terror.
Fact or fiction, Cinderella's castle can collapse. So it means that they can take it down if there's a hurricane. There's like 6 pieces that it can fold into that it can easily take it down so they don't have to worry about
And
it.
she said
You were
6
so
pieces. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say true.
You didn't make this up on the spot. You told us how it works.
It's false. It cannot collapse.
You misled us.
I know. I did it. I tricked you. But it's 600 tons of steel, almost 190 feet tall, and it's designed to handle a high Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricane.
Wow.
Like category?
I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
hurricane language.
Cat 3 means
Cat
category.
3. Okay. So that's that. All right. Good job, everybody.
So we got some of them right.
Yeah.
Those are pretty crazy.
Yeah, the one about the head, I mean, that is definitely a controversy. And speaking of controversy,
Oh man.
Ooh.
Let's get back.
another...
I don't know how to
Would-
I don't know how to change this now, but
That's okay.
let's get
I'll
back.
fix it for you.
So, all right. This year at the Super Bowl, there was a 30-second ad
Yes.
and
He gets
and a
us.
15-second ad for he gets us.
Didn't they have them last year too?
They did.
Okay.
They had him last year, and so it's would Jesus have spent $100 million to advertise at the Super Bowl. There's kind of two controversies behind these ads. So the first one is like, okay, if Jesus really was around today, would he spend $100 million on a ad at the Super Bowl?
I think he would just be on TikTok. It's more cost efficient.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't think he would.
Some of his miracles going viral. That's influencer marketing. People would post videos of his miracles.
Oh, and so he wouldn't have to.
I just felt like Jesus was a little bit more low profile than the Super Bowl.
But here's the thing. I mean, Jesus, we can still do miracles through Jesus today.
And then film them.
Yeah.
And then put it on a Super Bowl commercial.
I saw a guy talking to the demon.
I mean, that's all they are.
It's TikTok friendly. So, yeah. So do you think, but I mean, would he spend that amount of money advertising?
I don't know.
I think Jesus would advertise.
Because the controversy was, people like, well, they could have given all that money to the poor. I'm like,
oh, he does have something to say about that.
He does. That's the thing. It's like, well, if you're so concerned about it, read in the Bible where that lady anoints Jesus' head and feet, right? Or just his feet. I don't remember which one it was. It happened a couple times.
With the oil.
With the oil, there was like a year's wages.
Yeah.
And Judas was like, Jesus, you could have given this to the poor. And he's like, you'll always have the poor. You can give to them. He's like, this lady did what was right. Like, so.
Yeah.
So then, because our cousin was a little bit, she's like, I don't know about this or whatever. But a lady responded and was like, hey.
Here's some things to think about.
Yeah, here's something to think about. If Jesus, because 123 million
people saw
watch it. Yeah. So if even 10% of that.
She was saying 1%.
1%.
1% of that
would be 1 million people. If gave their life to Jesus, then what could that 1 million people do as a result?
Or even made Christians watching it think about their own, how they treat people differently and make a choice to act differently because of that.
So in case you didn't see the ad, it was just different people washing
different people's feet.
Yeah, but it would have been controversial in the sense that like there was a priest washing what appeared to be, I don't want to judge anybody, but like a homosexual man's feet.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a cheerleader girl washing like a goth girl's feet. Like there was just different pictures.
You have two opposing sides.
Was there a police officer?
White family washing a Muslim family's feet.
Yeah. And then a police officer washing somebody's feet. Like, so there's just these different things. And it said Jesus didn't spread hate, or he didn't.
It was something like that. He didn't spread hate. He washed feet or something like that. I think
it rhymed though.
Let us know in the comments.
Didn't hate those he washed feet.
I don't think
it did not rhyme.
It did.
I don't know about that.
But so.
It gets us, all of us.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so but people are like, he wouldn't spend this much money to advertise or whatever. That he'd give it to the poor. But I don't know. I think if Jesus knew it was a good ad campaign,
the thing is like, does it have to be Jesus? Would Jesus do this? To me, that's like almost an irrelevant question.
Yeah. Oh, would Jesus advise?
You reject the premise.
People to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
would you do it?
Oh man, I don't have that kind of money.
If you had $100 million.
Yeah, to spread the message of Jesus.
Or how many people's lives could you save from starvation with $100 million?
It's true, a lot.
At least 10.
But I think the comment that we saw was like, there's a ripple effect that could potentially end up saving more than what the 100 million could do. It was like,
what about all the ones that died?
Loaves and fishes, yeah.
He's like, that's why you do influencer marketing. You wouldn't have to spend $100 million.
But here, and the people that got mad about you could give to the poor. But my question is, are you giving to the poor? Like that would be my response of as followers of Jesus, we are supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus to the world around us. And so if you're mad about something and something's not getting done, well, then look to yourself and be like, okay, well, what can I do to help solve this problem? Okay, people are hungry. Well, what can I do to feed people? Like, am I doing that?
Yeah, those campaigns, from what I think I've heard or believe, is that people have given to this campaign.
Yeah.
So they've given it for the ad to run.
The Hobby Lobby guy apparently did too.
Well, we know him.
But
no, I'm saying I like him. Sorry, but
good.
So that's like something that people have given their money towards, and they're using it for that specific cause. Yeah. Those people are probably also giving a lot more in other places. So they're like, they're picking and choosing where their money goes. But then you have like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my train of thought.
COVID brain.
I don't. It's true.
Well, so I don't know if this is kind of adjacent to it, but I think some people from the outside looking in, even with churches spending money on things outside of helping the poor, a lot of people have issues with that.
Yes,
especially mega churches spending on like productions and because
preachers and sneakers account.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
So now because now you see churches like they have these big productions. There's one with there's all these like angels suspended from the rafters, like and then people are like, hey, you gotta give that money to the poor, like, and then people are like, well, they do give a lot of money to the poor actually, and like this was an outreach event, and then people are mad because they charge tickets. They're like, you made people pay to come to your church. Like, this is a special event. It's not a Sunday morning. We're not charging people to come into the church. Like, this was an event we put on, and so we charge money for it. Like, and so it's like a production. And so where I get frustrated is that like people get mad at these things when a church does it, but when in every other area of like I mean, Super Bowl tickets I heard were about like $100,000,
$10,000. Yeah, usually kind of at the bottom of them.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's also why wouldn't let's say Nike. Like Nike has like confirmed toes and like work camps.
Yeah.
And people are not saying like, why are you spending this money on advertising when you could be like releasing the people that make your shoes from like slavery?
Well, I think their argument would be, as a church, your whole mission is to help the poor. I think that's the outside perspective, is that the church is supposed to do that, but instead they're spending it on all this production stuff or all this extra stuff when they could just be doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So, but is that the church's goal, to help the poor?
Well, that's I think part of the perception.
That's what people. Because people. And that's where the preachers and seekers, like, it's if a pastor does it or if a church does it or whatever, it's like, backlash. But and what you were saying about the Nike thing, people were mad because then they're like, they looked behind, okay, well, who is this He Gets Us group or whatever, and then they're like, they support these things. This is the other controversial thing, because they're like, they support things that are anti-LGBTQ plus, and they're like pro-life and all this stuff, and so they're like, well, now they're bad. And we're like,
but even in the commercial, there is an elderly woman washing a girl's feet in front of
family planning clinic.
The family planning.
And you see like people in the background with the picket signs.
Yeah. Right. And you see the pastor, like you said, washing appearing, I would say by appearance, they're promoting that he's a homosexual man. So it's like,
right.
Then it's a controversy in and of itself, or like are they saying they're not practicing what they preach?
Yeah. But if you look at the original story of Jesus washing feet, he only washed the disciples' feet. Like he wasn't going doing this for everybody. He did it for the disciples. But then he tells them, go and do this. And like the whole purpose behind the washing of feet was to serve people so radically that they can't help but be changed. Because Peter himself was like, Jesus, you cannot do, like, this is the lowliest job you can do. Don't do it. And Jesus is like, no, I have to wash your feet. Like, you don't understand what I'm doing for you.
But wasn't it also to make them clean? Because he said, otherwise you have no part with me.
What do you mean
I think that was Jesus's purpose for washing their feet.
Yeah.
But I think the mandate he was giving them was what Chris just said.
Yeah, it's just interesting that that's in there, because I think some of the people that have backlash towards the ad is because it's called He Gets Us and it shows all these different things. To some people, they got the message that you should just accept people how they are, whatever lifestyle they choose to live. You should just accept them and serve them and not really challenge them.
I mean, I think that's like the eye of the beholder. Then that's on that person.
Yeah, this is where I get mad because all this is pictures. I get mad
too.
Yeah, it's just pictures like of people washing people's feet, and Jesus says, "Go and do this for others, so that they're drawn into the kingdom."
So my advice is, if it triggered something in you, then your response should be, "Why did that trigger me? Why am I getting so upset about this?"
Right.
Because search your own hearts. Because to me, like what I got out something totally different was just like, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to worldview. Like it says something about your worldview, how you felt about that commercial.
Right. Yes.
Because some people are like, well, I got to find out who's behind this and what they're really selling. And like,
so it's just one of our worldview questions.
Well, that is a thing though, because there are some ads where you could say, well, if you think they're trying to promote a other message here, that's just you thinking there's some conspiracy here. But I mean, there are people that there's underlying messages and they package it in something else that's more appealing.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so it's not just you bring your own worldview, but so we don't know what the actual worldview of the commercial itself was, but everyone has their own perception of it.
Right. So I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, but with that, but Jesus never just heals people or feeds people or does any of that stuff without the purpose of them coming to know him better. And so like he even tells the lady like that was caught in the act of adultery, like, hey, go and sin no more. Like he doesn't want them to stay where they're at. He wants them to be more like him. And so the more that we do that for other people, the more that they see what a life lived in Christ is supposed to be, and then will want to change and want to be more like him because they're following after him and not after the things that they think will make them feel fulfilled or whatever. And so that's where I get frustrated when people are like, oh, well, you can't wash this person's feet because they never said, no, stay like this. Yeah. But like they're serving that person in a way that's going to help them bring them, because the picket line thing, what's going to help that person more? You praying with them or talking to them, or you like standing out front like you're killing a life or whatever? Like what's going to actually help that person?
So another thing another thing though that frustrates me about, like, you see that commercial and then you're like, to immediately go online and say like, look at what company, like, it negates the message. Because you're like, look at what the company believes or look what they've done, all this stuff. And so you're just basically saying like the message that they are promoting is not valid. Like you should just completely wipe this commercial. I don't know what those people like actually want to happen, other than just like, well, that whole thing was stupid. Like it needs to just go away, or you just don't believe it or whatever. But the commercial itself is saying like, serve others. So I don't know. I'm like, what's the harm? And like, why would you even go find that out?
Why would you? Yeah. Well, because if people go to that website to like, okay, what's behind this, or who's behind this? Why are they saying this? What are they really selling or whatever?
Right.
And you find out like, oh, this is these people are out to kill us all.
Right. But even if you do, it says like, this isn't a collective belief. You need to go to your local church.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. So the purpose of He Gets Us is to connect people with their local church.
Oh.
So when you go, I believe you can type it where you're located, and then they give you certain churches or organizations that they've partnered with to say like, we're wanting to receive people from the people who like watch the campaign and want to know more.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So
yeah,
hey, there you go. But we'd like to know. Let us know in the comments. Was this a controversial commercial, or was this just people being kind and trying to get the world to be a better place by serving people like Jesus would? So I think that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on podcast, our Worldview Finder, episode 36. I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
And we'll see you next time.